Last chance to nail down your strategy.
There we go. He joined up, guys.
Hold on to your points. Seize theirs.
And anyway, we're about to get started here. TWG going up against somewhat of a new team here called CG. I've never actually seen them before, so it's going to be exciting to see how it goes. As we're going to see here. Apologies for missing the splits there, but we do have both teams taking their close points as well. Red team is going to be the first one to engage here. Metal and Rigden is going to be under a bit of pressure here, trying to pop off those shouts when in good time, but he has been holding off pretty well here. Extremely well played by Rigden here now. As he's holding himself off, Red team unfortunately wasn't able to capitalize on that burst pretty well, so he is going to be holding this point for the time being. Instead moving a target to Nox here as they fall back. As Nox forces himself to fall back here, we're going to pop that consume conditions. And get himself into safety here now, and they're going to switch targets once more. Tallywhacker switching up targets a lot here, as we're seeing, unfortunately, not able to catch a break. And as he comes back into the fight there, TWG is going to waste no time and get right back on him. Going to try to come in and try to get the res off. They actually are going to get Fears off as well, so they managed to get back up. Extremely well played there by CG, getting him back up there. And as Nacht rejoins the fight here now, trying to take out the names on TWG. All these names are actually pretty hard to pronounce, so I do apologize, guys. Gabble Gibble here now. As he pops into Plague form. We did have our first death, though, as Bextizio was knocked out there. Got himself down here, and we're going to jump on Lee Physialis now, who is, managed to, or rather, Ninja Cap, but they are just pretty good at flip points here now. As, in addition, this guy, Miss Arinian, manages to come over here and recap Temple in favor of his team as well. But we are going to have a bit of an engagement now as they 1v1. We'll check back on that in a second, because we still have the game fight going on. Back over here, we do have Gabble Gibble getting knocked out there. TWG Neuron as well, and has managed to res him up and bring him back into this fight. And Noct is once more in trouble here now, as Ringden is going to try to res him up. We actually are going to have a Shadow Refuge go down, so Stomp is not going to go off successfully. We are going to have some AoE CCs going around. They're trying to get him back up. Neuron is getting somewhat low here, but Noct was managed to brought back into that fight. Mike capitalizes up by trying to take out Neuron now, but again, Noct is fortunately really just forced out of this fight. TWG doesn't want anything to do with him, and they're just doing anything and everything they can to try and force him off this point. Looking over here now to Gabble Gibble. He's hiding out behind a point here now, but the Thief is trying to get all over him, just trying to keep... And this is really attributed to the meta at the moment. Really, just we're seeing both teams really just forcing on the... forcing themselves onto the Necromancers at the point, just trying to, because they don't want to deal with them. So they're really just trying to capitalize, taking him out. Ning 2, in the meantime, while I was talking about that, was just taken out there by TWG, so they are going to get an advantage in this mid-fight. We still have a 1v1 taking place over at Altar, I believe. Actually, no, cancel that. Blue team did manage to get that, so blue team, CG, actually has control of 2 points at the moment, and they are taking the lead. Looking over here now to Gabble Gibble at the moment, who is trying to deal some damage here with the Necromancer. We can just see these conditions ticking off, that we see if he's allowed to free cast going over onto the red team. 10, 11 stacks leads him nowhere on Gabble Gibble. He's about to get taken down, unfortunately, because of the conditions rolling in here on him now. Ringden as well is going to be knocked out, which is going to give TWG a huge advantage in this middle fight, which is sort of no surprise considering that CG has been focusing on other points for the majority of this game, just trying to keep themselves all around. But they are going to lose their second point as well, as they weren't able to put reinforcements onto Temple. Lee Physialis is going to get that back for his team. Back in middle, fight is actually still brewing pretty heavily. Gabble Gibble was knocked out. Gabble Gibble was just knocked out as Physialis tries to come in here, trying to res him up. Unfortunately, she's too low. Neuron as well is down, and with some swiftness, or with some safe stomps, he's gonna get brought out there. Neuron as well is down. Blue team trying to get some AoEs off to try and take him out, and as we're seeing, he's gonna get knocked out here in just a second as well by Ringden, which will once more sort of keep this fight in contention. So it's an extremely even fight here now that we have going on. No, neither player nor team has an advantage here. And as we're about to see, we are going to see Ringden take out TWG Flexgubba in just a second, going over to Flexgubba's point of view. And I think this is going to give midpoint to CG. The buff did spawn while all that was happening, and CG as well managed to get that, so they're going to have a virtual 4 cap, assuming they were able to cap this. Ning 2 was just taken down, but he did manage to fall back to his teammates. Extremely well played by CG. This is, I don't think I've ever seen these guys before, so this is pretty impressive play from what appears to be a new team. As Ringden captures this point out, they're going to get that 4 cap advantage. Not for the full duration, obviously, but they are going to have a pretty significant advantage here now. And even now, blue team playing extremely aggressive, pushing themselves into Temple. As red team comes out of spawns here, these two guys could be in a bit of trouble, so let's see what we got going on over here now. And it does look like everyone's just sort of passively moving themselves onto Temple now as this fight goes on. All 5 members of TWG are on this. They don't want to lose this at all. And in all honesty, CG might be in CG's best interest to try and get out of here. They did manage to take out Lee Physialis, so there is going to be a res coming off here now, managing to get him back on. Managing to get him back up there, but Bloodtropes as well as Pop Miststorm, he's out. Miss Arinian was taken out there as well, and Bloodtropes is going to leave, so it might be in CG's best interest to pull out of here now before they lose too many resources and not be able to fall back and defend these other points as well. And opening up the map, let us see what we got going on. We do, like I said, with the elimination of those members of CG, TWG is going to capitalize on that. and push themselves over here to middle now. Like we're seeing TWG, 4 members actually of TWG are pushed in, and 1 member has pushed to altar as well. So TWG is going for a full-on offensive onto CG now that they knocked out 2 of their members, and they might have trouble holding on to this, especially because Noct is extremely, or what appears to be extremely squishy here. He's going to get taken out now. And really, all of Red Team, like we're seeing, they don't want any chance that Necro getting res, so they're all just gonna like dogpile on him and just do as much AoE as possible. And Ringed In as well is gonna have trouble holding on to him. This is the unfortunate cause and effect of CG fully pushing into Temple as well. They lost too many people and they weren't able to defend these points. And because of that, they lost middle. They were able to hold altar as Leaf Physialis was taken down there by Miss Arian. But unfortunately for them, they did manage to lose gate and are now going to be at a cap disadvantage. They do have a healthy lead for the time being, though, so they do have some breathing room. 260 points at the moment for CG to 142 points for TWG. We're going to have buff spawning in about 45 seconds. So that's going to be fun to see how that goes on. Yoron as well is in a bit of trouble here off point. Like we're seeing CG, this appears to be CG strategy actually, just trying to, this is something Team Paradigm does a lot. They're trying to knock people down that are off point, just trying to capitalize on that. And now that they did kill the body and it's off point, they're sort of just going to leave it there. Because now he's out of the fight. He can res himself up if he wants to, but it's going to take him so much time that this is really not going to matter. Bextizia is down as well, and Gabble Gibble. So like we're seeing here now, CG just leaving the bodies on the floor, and they're going to hold on to the 2 points. It's a very, in my opinion, a very douchey strategy, but it's working pretty well for them. As Bextizia is down, Gabble Gibble's down, and they're forced to just hold on to it, and really they can't do anything about it, and Euron's down. And really their strategy seems to be CG, if they're not on the point, we're just going to leave it there. And it's working out pretty well. Buff spawning with 3 members of TWG out. This could be a guaranteed bottom buff for CG as well, but not even caring about altar or any of that, as Noct is going to take this pretty much uncontested. They might get stillness as well, and yep, they are going to get stillness and the bottom buff for themselves, which is going to be a virtual 6 cap. And with points this high, TWG is going to be in some serious trouble here. Going over to Blood Tropes, actually, Bextizia now, as they move themselves over onto the temple, trying to get that back. Bextizia is. Unfortunately, there is going to be contested on all 3 points going over to altar. A 1v1 taking place over there. Gate, no members of the red team are even there to contest it, and Noct was able to fall back there. However, Noct is probably not the best choice to defend that point solo, so they might want to consider putting someone else in there pretty soon. But for the time being, we have Blood Tropes holding on to it pretty nicely here now, as Blue Team gains 6 points every 2 seconds now, because they did manage to finally lose Temple, so it has been brought down to 4 points. But for the time being, Blue Team has a significant advantage, and it's really just pulling them ahead in this fight. Flexgova is going to be the one to stomp up Blood Tropes and take that point back. But at this point, guys, it's pretty tough for them, and we do have GGs being called, guys. So it does appear that CG, and I'm not actually sure who CG is, but CG is going to take this one. So extremely well played by CG, knock out Tallywhacker Gang, one of the newer teams in the scene. Both these guys are actually pretty new, but CG looks pretty promising. So it's going to be fun to see what we see from them in the future. But nonetheless, congrats all around. GG's being thrown out. So that's going to be the end of this one, guys.